Hello again, and before I say anything more, I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and hopefully a Happy New Year, and welcome to the new subscribers I've picked up over the past year, and thank you very much to all the people that have followed me on this modelling journey since the beginning. All your comments are really great, and I like reading them, and I reply to as many as I can, usually all of them if possible. So thanks for the comments, keep them coming in, and ideas for the layout. I love reading all these, and I do apply some of these ideas to the layout. This one I thought I would do something with a flavour of Christmas that most people find it a bit of a bitter taste in their mouth, though, is engineering works over Christmas, which tends to screw up most people's plans. But in my case, I actually want to do some engineering works on my layout. I've been saying for some time that I want to alter the track plan around the station and make it more workable, you might say. So I thought I would base it around doing some rail works and show people, possibly new in the hobby, how to remove track and lay track if you have already stuck it down and gravelled it, providing you use PVA, that is, because if you use something more difficult you may have a hell of a job trying to get it up. But with PVA, providing you do it right, you can remove it without damaging the track. And so that's what this one's all about, really. Me sort of playing around with bits of track, trying to improve things around the station. So I'll shut up now and you can watch the video. Bye for now. See you in the new year. Hello and welcome back to Woodhill Park. You join me planning what I'm going to do with the track plan here. I'm proposing to remove this crossover, as I very rarely use it, and it stops me taking traffic into the station on this side, as the crossover just sends it over here. Now I could get well, the little guys are helping me out. Well, going to play the part, yeah. Now I could replace this with a double slip, which would allow me to go into the station or past onto the station this side, but I don't use this very often, so pardon the pun, I think it's pointless having this here. So what I'm going to do is remove the crossover and just put a large turnout or point at this position to replace it, so I can take trains directly into the station this way, have them sitting waiting while trains pass on, which is I think platform 2, so platform 3 there'll be a train waiting, possibly facing the same direction, it could I could have it so it can go either way, but it'll be more useful. At the moment I can't do that the way it is, plus I don't really want this part going, well, this section of rail going into this part of the station, which is platform 4. I don't need it. I've got another way to sort of take trains onto this line behind the camera that you can't see at the moment, and this point has been giving me a bit of trouble, so at the same time I'm going to remove it and just have a straight line here. This possibly will give me some more room in this area to think about a signal box or think about other bits and pieces. I don't think it'll be a single box because I've got a signal box over there, but yeah, so I'm going to lift the track up. Well, these guys are. So the first thing I'm going to do is soak all the ballast to sort of ease the glue up, or moisten the glue to allow the tracks to lift. So it seems a bit drastic, but it's the best way to do it, is just to wet it all, and I'll put the new track in place, and then it'll be just a question of ballasting it. That sounds easy, but it don't always go like that, so here we go. I've just gone and got a better implement to scrape this with, a putty knife. Pretty committed now, but it's just a case of removing the old ballast and flattening the area to take the new point, because I don't want any uneven surface. It's got to be nice and flat again. The ballast is a bit soggy, but hopefully that will vacuum up. I've also got to remember to drill a hole for the point motor, which eventually I will get around to putting in. But best to drill the holes now, always in advance. And I'll just clear this off without digging into the cork, so it'll help it maintaining a flat surface that way. Trying to work around my signals as well. I'm going to put this point in place first. This is the most important piece before I work on the other sections. Alright, so I'm going to suck that up with a vacuum cleaner, even though it's a bit mucky. It's important not to damage the track around the area you're working, so not to damage any of the points. This piece of track I'm going to have to cut back once I achieve the right geometry. Going to have to lose the odd sleeper here and there to enable points next to it to work, and as I said, a hole up this end to allow for a future solenoid to move the points. So I'm going to drill a hole here, which will probably about 10mm diameter. I do them just so there's plenty of room to move things around underneath. It's a bit over the top, but allows for any errors then, and you really don't really notice. Right, I'll continue to clean that up. All the points all in place now. Did have a few fiddly issues with it, probably because it's a second-hand point. Sometimes it's best to have a brand new point if you can, but I've overcome those issues, and I'm now going to run the loco over it really slowly to see if it's okay. And back the other way, and then slight hesitation there, but it is going very slow. I'll change the point, run it across the points the other direction. That's pretty good. It's an Inslow frog point. I use Inslow frogs on all my layout. I never bothered with electro frogs, and unless you've got very small sort of locos like 0.6 knots, you don't really get an issue with a modern loco. Even with the 0.6 knots are so much better now, and you've got stay alives, so it's not really an issue. I think electro frogs do look a little bit better because they haven't got a plastic piece in them, but saying that, once they're weathered and that, you can't really notice it. So I just stuck with it. But yeah, should I build another layout, maybe I would go electro frog, but I keep it consistent, they're all the same. Well, there's no issue there, it's fine. I will continue to run trains over this area without ballasting it until I'm really happy with it, and then I'll ballast it. Now I've got the part 2 of my work on the rails I need to work on, and that's over here. I need to remove this point and just replace it with a bit of straight track, so that shouldn't be a problem really. Famous last words. But the main bit of work, that point is done, and that allows me now to bring traffic into the station on either lines and have one sitting in the station while another one passes. Right, this straight bit, I've now cut the piece to length that I want to go in there, and I've put fish plates already on the rails, which I've pushed up out of the way, so I can pull them back when I put the rail in the middle. I'm not going to put any dropper wires on this, as I haven't had too many problems with fish plates, as long as you use brand new ones and don't mess around with rubbish, so they're nice and tight. But I've got dropper wires on nearly every other length here, so I'm not going to bother just with this short length here. I think it'll be alright. So it's just a case of buttoning it up. It could be around that way I want it. That's it. You need to leave a slight gap for expansion, as in the summer it gets pretty warm and things expand like the real track would in real life. And then it's a case of sliding the fish plates on. Which is hard to show on camera. I'll get my elbow in the way. Just hold either side of the fish plate I do with a pair of cutters, and then sliding up when it plays ball. If you've got a burr on the bottom, which could be the case actually, there might be a burr on the bottom of the rails, and that stops it sliding. So just a little file, take any burrs off. Didn't look like there was, but maybe that's enough to just stop it going on. Right, so no burrs now. Where was we? Right. Put them up. I'll do these first. Try not to get my elbow in the way. So pull the fish plate forward. Slowly. So it's mid-position. And then the same with this end. Straight on now. Must have been a little burr. So now there's a gap up this end. There isn't a gap that end. So it doesn't matter, because as long as there is a gap. If you look at some of the rails I've got at the moment, because it's so cold up here, there's quite big gaps in them, because it's gone really cold. Come summertime, that gap will close up completely almost, especially when it reaches 30 plus up here. So you've got to leave expansion gaps. In order to see that I've got the track fairly straight, I've got a track setter, which are really handy tools. You just put that in the middle, slide it up and down. It does bang into the fish plates a bit, but it guarantees you that it's straight. Then you can either pin it or glue it. I'll probably just put the odd pin in. Right, I'll just finish that off, then I'll just have the trains running just to check it's okay. Now everything's working fine. I've got some of my most finicky rolling stock going across these two new bits of track. These Perigo wagons are amongst the most finicky wagons I've got. They're quite light and they bounce about, but they're fine across both new parts of track. So I think it's time to ballast it. It's time to do the ballasting, and I'll be using a ballast spreader, a teaspoon and a little makeup brush and all the usual bits I use, and then I'll be adding 50-50 PVA or something like that to the ballast with a bit of IPA to break the surface tension like everybody does. And I think I'll go for a sort of maybe a change of ballast colour, so to depict a bit of maintenance being done, and when it's finished it will show that there's been a new bit of track laid there. my trusty fan blowing across it to speed up the drying times. And all there is to do now is just leave it. Hopefully it will dry, probably not completely tomorrow, but it will be probably hard enough to be able to run trains, as long as I'm careful with it. But that's it pretty much. I've got a bit of landscaping to do in the middle of it, a bit of turf to put down, and maybe a little bit of weathering when it's all sort of hard. But it's nice to leave it as a different colour, as fresh ballast, to show that there's been some maintenance carried out in this area. So I might just leave it as it is. Obviously I'm going to vacuum up all the loose bits and it'll look a bit tidier than this, but I may well leave it the colour it is. Right, this is the final finished piece of track with a bit of weathering, not overdoing it so that you can see the difference in colour in ballast, but still giving it a bit of grime. And the point over there, pretty much the same, blended it in. That's a strange phrase, you might say. Blended in with the original ballast. And I've added more greenery where the original track used to go across, and the glue's drying, so that's why it's a bit white, but eventually it will all blend together. So, what projects am I going to do next year? Well, one project I've been thinking about is changing my DC system that I've been thinking about for a long time. I still don't know what to go for. Digitracks or Power Cab or the Quarry. I want to work out whether this is staying or not. I am thinking about some sort of coal staging depot to take some of the HEAs and merry-go-round wagons for coaling. I'm not sure whether I'm going to do something here and maybe extend the board out a bit, and instead of having this arc, bring the board out so it goes across this area and gives me more space. I've got loads of lighting to add to the village and the industrial buildings and the sort of roadways running across. They've got no street lighting. I need to bring this part of the layout alive like I have done with some of the other areas with lighting. And my major big bugbear is this end of the layout that has become a bit of a dumping ground that I need to finish off and work out whether I'm going to have some sort of flyover or mound with scenery on it or what I'm going to do. I've got quite a lot of thinking to do to sort this area out. Plus ongoing detailing and maintenance and other bits and pieces I need to factor in. I've got a reasonable workload in my mind already for next year. I'm thinking about trying to improve some of the natural scenery as well. See if I can improve on some of the trees and bushes and general scenery. This embankment near the bridge, I need to do something about this. It looks too uniform and it needs to be made a bit more natural looking, you might say. I'm also going to try and see if I can make some more little dioramas like this substation I made and fit these into the layout in various positions depending what they are and how well they fit in and where they're needed, really. I've also got lots of weathering of stock, including sort of earth moving vehicles like this and more rolling stock and locos that need weathering. So I'll be thinking about doing that when the weather improves. Also, if you've got any ideas on improvements for the layout, I'll be glad to hear from you. So just put anything you can think of what might benefit the layout in the comments. Oh, I nearly forgot. I've got the detailing inside the station walkway and concourse to finish off, which will be a project all of its own, I think. Not to mention some additional platform buildings to match the station I'm modelling. Another thing I forgot to mention is I would also like to update this background scene. So maybe redo the scene in the background and maybe have stainless steel or galvanised steel railings in front with more scenic material behind, be it sort of natural bushes and trees or whatever, just to give it a bit more depth. It looks a bit flat and boring as it is. And hopefully a bit more scratch building now I'm getting into the subject, as I would like to improve on some of the bits and pieces I've done in the past. Right, this is me signing off until next year in a very cold loft. Bye for now. This year, Santa's been invited along to open a new station. He's giving away presents to all the children on the platform. And even Woodhill Park Station, the front entrance has all been decorated, and they put up a community Christmas tree on the station. This year there's even a Santa special been laid on for the children at Woodhill Park, and they're all waiting at the station with anticipation of this train pulling in.